How's it going, my peeps? It is now time for the Raw results / highlights and review video. I'll go over the results of the show, some of the highlights in my opinion, and give you guys my thoughts on the show. So it kicks off with Daniel Bryan coming out and Wyatt Barrett already in the ring for a rematch from SmackDown. Wyatt Barrett versus Daniel Bryan. And they actually announced there's a special guest referee, and the special guest referee ends up being none other than Brad Maddox. So, in the beginning of the matchup, in the middle of the matchup, Maddox was, acting like a normal referee, nothing out of the ordinary. But then in the end, when Daniel Bryan went for his signature kick, Wyatt Barrett dodged it, went for a roll-up, and Brad Maddox quick counted and gave the win to Wyatt Barrett. So Barrett rolls out the ring, he celebrates by doing the yes hump, and instead saying boom. And in the ring, Maddox is still there. Daniel Bryan looks over at him and looks like he's about to, attack Maddox. But just before he can, Maddox gets out of the ring, rolls out of there, and just gets out of there. Daniel Bryan then does the no chant with the crowd, and that was it for the initial segment. Afterwards, it was Damien Sandow versus Randy Orton. On commentary, you had Cody Rhodes. And because Cody Rhodes is on commentary and he's stolen Damien Sandow's belt, this time, not belt, but briefcase. This time, Damien Sandow decided to handcuff the briefcase to the steel post. And as far as the match goes, it was a good match. In the end, though, Cody distracted Damien Sandow by trying to take that briefcase, taking it off the steel post, breaking the handcuff, but he couldn't. But just him trying to do that caused a distraction for Damien Sandow. Randy turns him around, hits the RKO, and wins the matchup. And then, after that, they announced a Battle Royal. Actually, they showed Rob Van Dam stretching backstage. And they announced that there's going to be a Battle Royal involving also Rob Van Dam is going to be in that matchup. And it's a 20-man Battle Royal to determine the #1 contender for the United States Championship at SummerSlam. Then you have the Shield cutting a promo, Dean Ambrose and the Shield, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns. Dean Ambrose cuts a great promo on the Battle Royale and who can beat him and stuff like that. And Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins put out a challenge to any two superstars that feel they can face off or challenge or take the tag team titles away from the Shield. Following that, you had a backstage interview with CM Punk. It was Josh Matthews interviewing Punk. And of course, he talks about the match with Paul Heyman, or the fight with Paul Heyman. And he said, last week Brock Lesnar told Paul Heyman to say something stupid, and Paul Heyman did just that by announcing that he wants a fight with CM Punk. But then he also says he knows Paul Heyman is not stupid, and he expects to see Brock Lesnar tonight. And then he goes on to say that the best is the best. After that, you have the Great Khali and Natalya versus AJ and Biggie Langston in a mixed tag team matchup. And the funny thing about this matchup is at the end, I don't know, this was like a botch or something on the referee's part. You had, Kaitlyn was kind of yelling at Hornswoggle, and then because of that, she was yelling at Hornswoggle, who was on the outside, just at ringside. And that distraction allows Natalya to lock on the sharpshooter. And then, while AJ's in the sharpshooter, AJ taps out. And so once she taps out, Natalya lets go of the sharpshooter, and then she smiles and just looks down on AJ. Keep in mind, there's no music or anything playing. And it's just quiet. And I don't know, the referee, I guess he was distracted and looking on the outside, looking at Hornswoggle or something. He didn't see AJ tap out. So Natalya then goes ahead and locks on the sharpshooter once again, and AJ taps out once again. And this time, I guess the referee sees it, so announces Natalya as the winner. The funny thing is, though, the first time around when AJ tapped out, Natalya was smiling, looking at, AJ, there's no music playing. Then she goes next to the referee, grabs the referee's hand so the referee can raise her hand up, but the referee's like, what the fuck? What do you... I don't know. So, yeah, it was a pretty funny moment. But anyways, after the matchup, Biggie Langston kind of throws Hornswoggle around, and the Great Khali retaliates with a chop to Biggie's head. And then, you have Vince McMahon coming out to address the situation earlier with Brad Maddox, Wyatt Barrett, and Daniel Bryan. And he talks to Brad Maddox, tells him, why did you count fast or whatever. Brad Maddox says it was a mistake. He was excited because it was his first time back as a referee for a long time. and any rust that may have shown that was just an accident, a mistake. Vince McMahon says, alright, mistakes happen. And then Brad Maddox says he wants a second chance. Vince McMahon tells him, second chance at what? He says he wants to be the referee for the match at SummerSlam. And then Vince McMahon asks the crowd if they want to see Brad Maddox as the referee. They all chant no. But then he says, okay, let me ask you a couple questions. He asks him questions like, are you going to be fair? Are you going to, call it right down the middle despite any personal beefs or whatever? Brad Maddox says, yeah. Asks him, are you going to stop calling Daniel Bryan a troll and this and that, and a guy with a toothpick physique? And Brad Maddox says yes. So in the end, Vince McMahon tells him, alright, the new referee for the SummerSlam matchup, Brad Maddox. That's when Triple H music hits. He comes out, and he pretty much, he says, there needs to be somebody that calls it right down the middle, this and that. But I don't think you're describing Brad Maddox here. I think you're describing me, So then he pedigrees Brad Maddox, and pretty much it looks like Triple H is going to be the special guest referee for the match at SummerSlam between Daniel Bryan and John Cena. Afterwards, it was Kane versus Titus O'Neil. Pretty quick matchup, which Kane wins with the choke slam. After the match, the Wyatt family come out, and, it's the usual entrance. And when Bray Wyatt, sits down and then Luke and Eric go in the ring, the lights come on, and Kane is not actually in the ring anymore. Instead, he's on the stage behind Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt then backs away a little bit. He's now at ringside, right in front of the ring on the outside, and Luke and Eric are still inside the ring. Kane then raises his hands up and puts them down, does his, flame pyro, her flame on, the four sides of the ring. And that was it. Following that was a matchup between Kofi Kingston and the world champion Del Rio, which Del Rio won. And the way he won it was pretty cool, actually. I liked one of his counters. In the end, you had Kofi Kingston going for a springboard crossbody, and Del Rio was up, I believe. Pretty sure he was up. And he countered that into a gutbuster by getting his knees up. And then he locked on a cross armbreaker, won the matchup. After that, they showed Mark Henry backstage stretching as well, preparing for the match tonight for the Battle Royale. And then they had a promo for Christian, highlight video package of Christian's career, and him winning the ECW championship and then the World Heavyweight Championship. And then an interview with Christian, where pretty much to sum it up, he says he's going to prove at SummerSlam that all he needs is one more match to win that World Heavyweight Championship. Then Del Rio comes up to him and says something in Spanish, but then Michael Cole translates that and says that it means that after the match at SummerSlam, Christian's not going to get any more matches. After that, the Real Americans, Antonio Cesaro and Swagger had a rematch with the Usos. And I like the ending of this matchup. It was pretty unique. I'm sorry, I don't know which one is Jay, which one is Jimmy. I know one of them has a tattoo on his chest that the other one doesn't have, but I don't know, I forget. So anyways, the Uso that was, supposed to be in the ring, that was the legal partner. Well, actually, before that, they both went over the top rope to the outside, crashing onto Swagger and Antonio Cesaro. And then the legal guy puts Swagger inside the ring, and then he climbed up the top turnbuckle, trying to go for the splash, but Antonio Cesaro got up on the apron and tried to take him down, but the other Uso went on the other apron and then super kicked Antonio Cesaro, who had his head, he could see his head in between, the other Uso's legs. So he super kicks Antonio Cesaro, and then the Uso on the apron tags himself in without Swagger seeing. Swagger charges the one on the turnbuckle, who jumps away, and then the legal one gets in the ring, rolls up Swagger, gets the victory. I know this was really complicated, because I was like, the Uso that's on the turnbuckle, the Uso that's on the apron, and this and that. But it was a pretty unique finish, and yeah, I like that. So, the Usos win the matchup. Afterwards, they had a Miz TV segment with John Cena and Daniel Bryan. And pretty much, The Miz tried to stir the pot, stir things up between the two, telling Daniel Bryan that John Cena doesn't respect him and stuff like that, because John Cena said this Sunday, Daniel Bryan's going to put up a hell of a fight. And then The Miz told Daniel Bryan that's John Cena's way of telling him you're gonna lose this Sunday. Daniel Bryan told The Miz, if you don't shut up, I'm gonna punch you in your face. Anyways, they cut a pretty good promo, back and forth promos, pretty long too. At some point, you had Daniel Bryan calling John Cena a parody of wrestling. You had John Cena telling Daniel Bryan that he doesn't consider him one of the greats, in the lines of Shawn Michaels, The Rock, and all of those. And even saying that he doesn't respect Daniel Bryan, and he's not going to respect him until, unless he wins the championship from him this Sunday. And Daniel Bryan says there's a tradition in Japan where to fire somebody up before their match, they would slap their opponents as hard as they could. And Daniel Bryan says, and he wishes he could do that, but he can't because John Cena's not a wrestler. Then John Cena tells Daniel Bryan to, come on, hit him, hit me, slap me. Daniel Bryan says he doesn't deserve it, so John Cena slaps Daniel Bryan. And Daniel Bryan once again says, no, you don't deserve it. And then Triple H comes out, and then he kind of, separates the two or tells him to calm down. That's when Randy Orton's music hits. He comes out, and he just comes out on the stage, reminding both guys that he's the Money in the Bank holder, so he, holds up his briefcase, and that was it for the Miz TV segment. After that, it was R-Truth versus Fandango, and I mean, it wasn't even a match. The match never got on the word because Fandango showed off his dance moves to his music, and then R-Truth showed off his dance moves to his music, and while he was doing that, Fandango attacked him, and then R-Truth attacked back. And then Fandango got out of the ring, got on the microphone, and said, "It's fine, down, go," while he was down and out. Well, not out, because he did say that. So, yeah, that was it for the R-Truth Fandango match. That was it. And then backstage, you had Paul Heyman and Curtis Axel. And Paul Heyman actually told Curtis Axel that he was having second thoughts about the match with Punk tonight. After that, they had the 20-man Battle Royale. And out of everybody, Ryback eliminated the most people. He eliminated Khali and a bunch of other people. And in the end, the last guys were the Real Americans, Mark Henry, Rob Van Dam, Ryback, and Wade Barrett. Mark Henry took out the Real Americans by himself. And then it was down to Mark Henry, Wade Barrett, Ryback, and Rob Van Dam. And Rob Van Dam and Wade Barrett... Wait a minute. Mark Henry actually took out Wade Barrett. And then Rob Van Dam and Mark Henry double teamed or took out Ryback, together by teaming up. And then it was down to Mark Henry and Rob Van Dam. And it ended up being Rob Van Dam taking Mark Henry over the top rope. Actually, he didn't take him over the top rope. You had Rob Van Dam on the apron. And then once he got up, Mark Henry charged him. But Rob Van Dam pulled down the ropes and Mark Henry fell outside. So Rob Van Dam wins. After he wins, Mark Henry goes in the ring and pretty much gives him a fist bump. And then the Shield's music hits. And actually before it hits, Mark Henry got out of the ring, but then he got back in once he heard their music. They come out, surround the ring, but then the Big Show's music hits, and he comes out. He comes out not, in his ring attire, just in normal clothes, and he walks down the ramp slowly, and you could see, Seth Rollins, saying, "Oh shit." But anyways, they back off, and Big Show goes in the ring, and the Shield leaves. And then for the main event, CM Punk, Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman comes out first, and he says, people were all weekend or whatever, or all week, people were talking about how this is a trap. Paul Heyman says, duh, it is a trap. And then he says, but somebody helped me, set up this trap. And he brings out Brock Lesnar. Says Brock Lesnar thought of this trap. And then he says the trap is, if CM Punk wants to fight me, if CM Punk wants to fight Paul Heyman, he needs to fight Brock Lesnar too. So it's going to be 2-on-1. So CM Punk either has a choice to come out here and make this stupid mistake and be a coward, not a coward, a stupid hero, and, fight both Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman, or he could disappoint every single one of these fans and tuck his tail behind his legs and just leave. So he tells CM Punk, you've got two choices. Either be the smart coward or the stupid hero. So then CM Punk's music hits, but he doesn't come out from the stage. They're expecting him from the stage, but he doesn't come out from there. And then CM Punk comes out actually from the crowd, because he came from behind them. and he grabbed the camera, the cameraman's camera, and he hit Brock Lesnar with the camera. And then he started hitting Brock Lesnar with the camera a couple times, actually outside the ring this time. And he was going to go for Paul Heyman, but Paul Heyman ran away, ran backstage. CM Punk was running after him, but Curtis Axel came out on the stage to stop CM Punk from following Paul Heyman. That's when CM Punk also attacked Curtis Axel. He took him out with a go to sleep, and then he stared down Brock Lesnar, who was still down but slowly getting up on the stage, or CM Punk was on stage and Brock Lesnar was like laying or leaning on the apron. So that was it for the show, and it looks like CM Punk finally gets the momentum, or finally gets the advantage over Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman. So he has the momentum going into the show, unless something else happens between them, at SmackDown or something like that. So anyways, what did I think about the show tonight? My rating, highlights. I've got to say I really enjoyed tonight's show. Some of the highlights, my favorite match maybe, I really did enjoy the Battle Royale. I thought that was a great matchup. I liked the ending too, where it's down to Mark Henry and Rob Van Dam. But once it was down to Mark Henry and Rob Van Dam, I pretty much knew that Rob Van Dam was going to win it. I didn't think Mark Henry was going to challenge Dean Ambrose one-on-one for the United States Championship. If Mark Henry was going to be facing off against the Shield, I thought it was going to be in a tag team matchup, not just one-on-one for the U.S. title. So, I'm happy also Rob Van Dam won the matchup. And also, another highlight would be the ending of the tag team matchup between the Usos and the Real Americans. That was a really unique ending, original ending, something, well, I've never seen it before. With the super kick, and then the blind tagging, roll up, and all that. It was a good, sequence at the end. It was just a good show overall, and the promo between Daniel Bryan and John Cena as well. I liked the show. And for that, I'm going to give tonight's Raw an 8.5 on 10. Very good show. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, as always, you can click that like button down below. I'd really appreciate it. And with that said, alright guys, see ya.